Alright, what we have here is a ladies Diamondback bicycle that's about a year old, and it's now October 6th of 2014. And what happened is the bicycle fell over, and that's the left brake lever. You'll note that the right brake lever is no longer there. So what we did, went to our friendly Amazon Prime account and we bought a pair of new brake levers. These particular ones were rated pretty well, made by XLC, and we are going to attempt to make an installation. What we've done thus far is use a 5mm hex wrench and loosen up the brake lever, the old brake lever, and a 3mm hex to loosen up the rotary gear shifter. Now that we've got that out of the way, we need to remove the rotary shifter, but the grip is in the way. I tried to twist the grip off, but that didn't seem to work very well, so we're going to try this, and this is the first go at it, so if it doesn't work, maybe some editing. This is a tool that I use to remove hoses. It's called a radiator hose pick, and it's available for a few bucks at Harbor Freight. Well, that's where this one came from anyway. So what we're going to do is create an airspace in here, and I'll zoom in just a little bit. We're going to stick this in and create a little bit of a space. We've been told that isopropyl alcohol is good for helping to loosen these, so I've got isopropyl alcohol, and just keep some of these little syringe things around. They come in handy from time to time to inject glue. As a matter of fact, that's what they're intended for. You can get them at woodworkers' supply stores. So we've got a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in this syringe. So we're going to squirt it in there and lean the bike over and see if that works. Well, check that out. Perfect. Came right off. So just to make sure the isopropyl alcohol doesn't damage the rubber, I'm going to take a paper towel and dry it out, although as we know isopropyl alcohol dries pretty quickly by itself. And so we've got that off. Everything's drying. So now we can just, there's enough slack in the gear shift cable that we can just let that hang to the side. And we've got the brake cable already loose. So we'll just undo this. Hopefully you can see it. This piece comes off where the broken lever was, and now it appears you can see this end won't go through, so you just remove the little adjusting nut that's on here. Actually, now that I notice, you don't even need to remove it. The adjusting nut has a split in it you might be able to see there, so the cable will just come out like that. Now we're ready to install the new brake lever, and you can see it's got the tightening screw that will cinch this down on the 7/8 inch handlebar, and there's one for the left and one for the right, so this is obviously the right one. And I've got my 5mm hex wrench here ready to go, so it doesn't have to be one like this. It can be any 5mm wrench. So what I'm going to do first is just snug this up a little bit, and we'll do the final positioning when we get everything put back together. So there, it's snugged up a little bit. Now let's see how we're going to put this new brake cable back in, or the old brake cable in the new lever. I'll tilt it down a little so it might be easier to see. So I've got the brakes disconnected pretty much on the rear of the bike. So we've got some extra cable slack, I hope. And the same thing goes with this one. It's I've got the adjusting nuts so that there's a slot, goes right through, and we can just put our brake cable right down in. Need just a little more slack to get our brake cable down in this slot right there. Alright, y'all probably noticed that I left for a second. Just wanted to see if I needed to get need to have a little more slack there to get this down in. There we go. Went right in the little notch there, and so we're good to go, and we can do the adjusting a little bit later by screwing the adjuster out. But also you can make adjustments back at the rear brake by adjusting the cable position back there. So okay, our new brake handle's on. I'm going to leave a little slack there. Well, I guess it was positioned there first, so we'll just leave it where it was originally. Let's get our brake shifter back on, or our gear shifter back on, I should say. And just to make note, the position, you can see over here on this side that the cable of the gear shifter is on top of the brake handle. So I had it backwards first time. So that's approximately where this all should be. Now, let's put our grip back on. And you know what? We're going to use the same old trick and put just a little dab of isopropyl alcohol on there. Does the perfect trick. Got it back on. All we've got to do now is make sure we've positioned our gear shifter so it's about like the other one. And this one uses a 3mm screw to tighten up, and so we'll just tighten that up, position the brake where it should be, tighten up the 5mm nut on this one, 5mm hex bolt on this one, and our gear shift replacement job is complete. Hey, thanks for watching. And as an end note, I just happen to think that, you know, you may not have one of these hose removal tools to stick under the grip. Use a screwdriver, use a pointed object, use a nail. This is just a little safer to keep from tearing up the rubber, but you certainly don't need to have one of these to take the grip off. And my little, you know, syringe, little cheap plastic syringe that I just happen to have, but you probably don't have one of these laying around, so use something like a coffee straw or straw and stick it down in the isopropyl alcohol, put your finger over the end of it, lift it up, it'll be full of isopropyl alcohol, and stick it into the grip and let it go. And that should be sufficient to get enough alcohol to get you to work that. And lastly, the hex wrench screwdriver device that I was using, you know, here's an alternative, just a plain set of hex wrenches. Again, in my case, it was a 3mm and a 5mm. You know, your mileage may vary. So good luck on changing out your brakes or your gears, because this video should help you do either one. Thanks again for watching.